Let's talk about your life. When you were young, you say that you went down the wrong path and you were a drug dealer. You were a drug dealing youth and you were able to turn your life around and now you're helping others. What, what led you down that path to begin with?
I was infatuated with the street life, and I believe it or not, I come from a hardworking, blue collar, deeply spiritual family. My dad was a pastor. He had a master's of divinity. He had a doctorate in ministry. Okay, church planner, church pastor.
Hmm.
The churches that my dad planted, God rest his soul, he passed in 2020, are still thriving today in Rhode Island, all over the state. Um, because he left us there. He left a piece of us there. And so, but I wanted more. I was that type of child. I was that type of kid, and the teachers knew it. And they said, "Your son, he got so much potential." What? My mother, she's oh, we joke about it to this day. She's like, "What?" Like they was telling her like she didn't know. Like, do you understand? He can get a scholarship. Do you understand? Like who? What we're dealing with. And she just was so frustrated. So because I was infatuated with the street life, I liked the drugs. I liked the guns. I liked
Why did
the
you?
music.
This is interesting because a lot of people think that the kids fall into this because they didn't have fathers around. You're saying, I had a great dad and my dad was a pastor, but you were
Right.
still infatuated. So is there then some basis to the idea that it's the culture, the music, the types of shows? When I don't know how old you are, but when I was a kid growing up, the the shows that showcased black families and they were like no, I mean it was just no different than white families. I mean we had the Cosby. I mean I hate to bring up Bill Cosby, but still we watched him, loved him, and it was a great show. And there was Fresh Prince of Bel Air, and there was Arsenio Hall doing his nighttime show, and there it wasn't this like the culture that I feel like I see now. I don't even know what to call it, but the Cardi B's, the gangster. I mean, like the glorification of street life. I feel like that's in the music, that's in movies, that's in the TV shows that are catering to the black community, that are targeting. I wouldn't even say catering, but targeting the black community. Um, because I don't know if that's really what the black community even wants to watch or wants to consume, or if it's just what's being given. And so then the kids are like, yeah, okay, then I like this music. I like these lyrics. I like this show. Is that what got you into it, or was it something else entirely?
You hit the nail right on the head. Because as I look back and try to, figure out what it was the music. It
Hmm.
was absolutely the music. It gets a hold of you. And it's the basis, it's the impetus of everything else. It's the music that gets you into everything, the drugs, the women, the streets, the guns, the money, the parties, the clubs. It's the music that gets you going. And that is specifically and premeditated and deliberately introduced to our ghettos, and they're still doing it. They're still introducing
Yeah.
that kind of music in
Who
the cities.
who did that, do you think? Because like I said,
Oh, it's
I
the, oh,
remember
it's
as a kid
the music
listening
companies.
to I was like En Vogue. I loved En Vogue. I loved Boys to Men. I mean, there was like so many amazing artists that were black artists who were not singing these violent or misogynistic lyrics or about the street life. Like they were Whitney Houston. That's what I grew up with. It was totally different. And then something shifted. I don't know when it shifted, but something certainly did.
Well, the '90s was lit, and you're never gonna find another era like that. Whether you're talking about hip hop, R&B, pop music, TLC, the Monicas, the Biggie Smalls, the Mob Deeps, Tupac, Dre, and Snoop. Like that. That was an era unlike any other era. Even Janet, and so it just is like the 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 hip hop though. It gets a hold of you, and it got a hold of me, and it gets a hold of a lot of people, and you're still seeing it today because that's purposely introduced into the hood. It's controlled, it's manipulated, and it's introduced. And there's other music that's kept purposely that's positive that would cause unity and bridging of gaps. It's kept from the inner cities. It's kept from the catalogs and the music companies. They don't promote it where they promote the violent because they don't fear the music companies. They don't fear a man with a gun. They fear a black man with a book. That's what they fear.
Mm-hmm.
That's different. A man who's straight with a wife, raising a family. That's their fear.
Right. Like I said, sharing the wealth and like, oh no, now we have to compete with this new group of people that are actually competing legitimately, equally for the resources. And we have got, but there are a lot of
playing field. Yes.
Yeah. So it's different. So who do you think? So do you think it was like who's behind that then? If you feel like it was the record companies,
100%, it's them because they have 100% sway and pull over the music industry. They sign whoever's in the music. They sign. They blackball. They blacklist whoever's not going to be in the music. They cancel you.
Yeah.
If you don't play ball, that's it. That's why you see these puppets like Sexy Red, like I can't even think of Red Bottom chick, the Spanish chick. Like these people, and it's like, okay, so they're up there making these songs, right? No shame whatsoever, right? And they know that the young blacks are going to imitate that, because that's the culture. That's what's cool, right? Just like I was carrying 45s and 9mm. Right? I thank God that he got me through that phase.
Mm-hmm.
I made it through the line of fire, and God is on me. He's on our community, and a lot of prayer in our community. We come from a community of praying mothers, praying church mothers, because we've seen the worst.
I think a lot of people, especially right now, maybe could appreciate that more. Maybe they could appreciate more the notion that there was this sort of brainwashing that was being implemented into the Black communities. Because there was definitely a shift. I mean, like I mentioned, the 90s were different. I grew up in the 90s, and it was like an equality, like more. I mean, Michael Jackson even did that song that was super popular for however many weeks. It was number one on the charts. Like, it don't matter if you're Black or white, right? I mean, we really believe. I mean, that's where we were headed, and we really thought we're headed into a better place in society, and or that we had already arrived at that better place in society. But something did unravel. Something certainly unraveled. I think but I think now people can maybe, rather than people placing the blame on the Black community and saying, well, it's your own fault because you gobbled up all that crap. It's like we can see now with like the brainwashing in mainstream media, the brainwashing campaigns that they feed us the same stuff, and they tell us, if we don't, that's the only thing they're showing us. They don't show us anything other when you turn on the news than the narrative that they want you to gobble up. And I think people are really open. People are aware of this now. People are starting to see that they are guiding us, shepherding us, pushing us in the direction that they want us to go. And so why wouldn't they also be doing that to the Black community and saying, oh, here we go. Oh, you thought you could rise up and be equal and compete and be on an even playing field? No, we're going to give you gangster rap, right? You're going to want to go and get guns and sell drugs and run off and sleep with a bunch of women and not be around for the kids. And, because that's what this guy's telling you is the cool way to be. And you're going to emulate that guy.
Then we're going to pour drugs into your neighborhood and have a war on drugs. And then we're going to put liquor stores on every corner and cash checker stores. So, you can spend all your money and stay broke. This is what they do.